As my old man used to say, son, opinions are like buttholes. You've got yours, I've got mine, and there's really no reason for them to come into any kind of proximity. So I really appreciate you coming to listen to mine. Opinions, that is. Opinions on Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise. Let's get stuck right in. Mr. Normal Person. He's completely normal. So if you didn't know already, War for Cybertron is split into 3 chapters, 6 episodes each. First chapter called Siege, second chapter called Earthrise, and the third chapter, according to Wikipedia, is called Kingdom. But more on that later. I've just done a recap of Siege. You can check it out right here. So I won't go into that one too much right now, but suffice to say that War for Cybertron is a cartoon that's dark, it's gritty, and it's full of adult themes. Episode 1 of Earthrise follows up with the Autobots who chose to stay behind on Cybertron. As we know, Optimus threw the Allspark into a space bridge to stop Megatron from getting his hands on it. And then he and a group of Autobots got on the Ark and followed it through, but a group of Autobots also elected to stay on Cybertron to fight Megatron. Led by Alita, they're trying to liberate any Autobot prisoners from Decepticon jail cells, but to their surprise, they find that the cells are full of Decepticons. It turns out Megatron and Shockwaves are using their own people as energy sources to power their mysterious Project Nemesis. Now, when I heard Nemesis, I was thinking, oh, okay, so it's going to be some way of turning Autobots evil, and it's ultimately going to result in Optimus turning into Nemesis Prime. But actually, it's not that. So more on that later, though. Alita and Jetfire debate whether they should be liberating Decepticons in the first place. They're essentially their enemies, right? So by liberating them, they're just going to be running around and might ultimately come back and kill them. But Alita argues that it's just what Autobots do, and that freedom is a right of all living beings. So we're already seeing examples of how Alita is able to make the tough decisions, something that Prime was struggling with. Over in Camp Decepticon, as if it wasn't enough that they brutally tortured, executed, and then used his corpse to spread a virus, it turns out they've actually kept Ultra Magnus' severed head, and Megatron has frequent conversations with it. Oh, by Jove, looks like you're losing your marbles, Megatron, old pal. Then we catch up with Group Prime and the Autobots who escaped on the Ark, as they're taken prisoner by this guy. His name's Double Dealer, and he's a mercenary working for the Quintessons. If you didn't know already, the Quintessons are the creators of the Transformers, and used to use them as slave labor, until this guy liberated them. The thing is about these guys is that they're multiple personalities in one, and are constantly bickering with each other to achieve consensus of opinion. That sounds oddly familiar, I don't know why. That is until this guy, called Anger, cuts off all of the other faces, leaving him in full control. Of course, this angry Anger guy is not the type to uphold any kind of bargain, so he double-dicks Double Dealer, leaving him doubly pissed off. So guess what? Double Dealer double-dicks him back and releases the Autobots to go and find the Allspark. There is so much double-dicking going on. Megatron's Project Nemesis finally materializes in a gigantic ship that he promises his followers will carry them to salvation and victories over their one true enemy, Optimus Prime. So Team Prime on the Ark realize that the Allspark is on the other side of the galaxy, and they set off to find a space bridge that can get them there. It could be a trap, though, as someone has left the space bridge perpetually on. And it all looks a bit suspicious. Turns out that there's a space station stuck half in and half out of the space bridge, and they have to board it and try to blow it loose with some explosives so they can get the Ark through. But whilst they're on it, they're attacked by Scorponok. How he got stuck on the space station, God only knows. But again, it's good to see this guy in his Gen 1 form. The movie version really did not do him justice. I love this guy. I had the toy as a kid, and so special memories for me. Yay! So Scorponok is devastating all the Autobots, and Prime comes to the rescue, and it's really, really cool. There's a really cool fight scene. But then quite quickly, Prime gets overwhelmed himself, and guess who comes to his rescue? Well, Megatron, of all people. And you realize that Scorponok, even though he's got a Decepticon insignia in the middle of his chest, has kind of gone rogue, and the insect mentality seems to have taken over, and he just seems interested in exterminating what he sees as the contagion in his territory. Protect the Queen! Protect the Queen! Invaders must die! So now we're into episode 5, and things start to get a little weird. Basically, instead of going through the space bridge, the Ark gets blasted into the dead universe, an empty void where there's no stars or planets, only this guy. His name's Skylink, and I'd never seen this guy before, and my first impression was not good. It was like, who the hell designed this guy? Were they tripping balls? Were they tripping off their ass? What kind of ass balls were they tripping? What's going on? It's basically a talking space shuttle dog who's looked inside himself to overcome his God complex. And there I said it. And it doesn't sound any better hearing myself say it than it did when I watched it, if you know what I mean. And I shit you not, that's not even the trippiest thing to happen in this empty void. Somehow, Team Megatron also get inside, and Megatron meets Galvatron, who tells him he has to get the Matrix of Leadership before Galvatron gets pulled back to his own universe by Unicron. Yeah, exactly. At one point, Optimus looks over his own dead body as seen in Transformers the animated movie, all the way back from, 1982? And you get the feeling we're headed for a crisscrossing of all the separate universes and timelines. Again, I'll come back to that in a bit. Optimus learns to use the power of the Matrix to open the porthole again back to normal space, and Skylink sacrifices himself to make sure they don't get destroyed by a blast of pure hate from Megatron. As I said, it was kind of a strange episode on first viewing, but the more I think about it, it actually seems quite clever, especially the moment when Galvatron gives Megatron an artifact last seen in Beast Wars before being pulled away back to his own universe by Unicron. Now, the biggest talking point about the last episode is that Double Dealer shows up again and double dicks the Autobots and the Decepticons before we realize that Double Dealer himself has been double dicked by the Quintesson. And long story short, both ships get blowed up and crash land on Earth. But who's on the ground looking up at the falling flaming wreckage? My absolute favorite character from Beast Wars, Dinobot. So I was excited. The main conclusion that I would make at this stage, obviously without having seen the third and final part of this trilogy, is that the whole thing has gone in a direction that I never would have expected. And that's a good thing. I didn't enjoy it as much as Siege, but there's a lot of good stuff here, especially for longtime fans who are familiar with the different strands of the franchise. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to Chapter 3 of War for Cybertron. It'll be amazing to see Optimus Primal again, maybe the old T-Rex style Megatron. That would be cool too. It would be awesome. I was hoping to see Devastator in there, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get to work him in again. And I'm really curious to where they're going to take it. So get out of my head and go check it out. There's too many people in here already, and I need to make room for my next review, Wonder Woman 84. I'm really looking forward to that. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.